Good morning or good afternoon now. This is a work session regarding welcoming Anchorage's Youth Civic Engagement Academy. Christopher Constant chairing this meeting. For the record, we're going to go around the room and do introductions. And so what that is normally we say our name. And for you, I'm going to ask you to say your name, how old you are, and what neighborhood you live in as we go around the room. All right.
And what high school you go to.
and what high school you go to. Great. So high school in what area, what part of town you live in. So why don't we start here?
My name's Sophia. I go to East High School and I'm 16 years old and I live in Civic.
Awesome. Thank you. Speak loud. We have a recorder. We have to record all of our meetings for public process. Go east.
My name is Sapak. I graduated from East High School. I'm 16 and I live in Mother Heights.
Awesome.
Use your outside voice.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Apad.
Apad. Thank you. And Christopher Constant, Anchorage Assembly, downtown. I live on Government Hill.
Pete Peterson, I represent East Anchorage and Muldoon.
Suzanne LaFrance, South Anchorage, Girdwood, and Turnagain Arm, that's District 6.
Yeah, I'm Isaac, and I go to West High School. I live in town.
Thank you.
My name is Sabas. I go to Austin College School. I'm 17 years old and I live in
Mountain View.
My name is Nasha. I'm 14. I'm 15 and I live in
Mountain View. What's your name again? Real loud.
Nasha.
Najma.
My name is Ifra. I go to Austin College. I'm 18 and I also live in
Awesome. I represent Mountain View. Please.
I'm Mara Kimmel, I live in Spurnigan, and I'm happy to be here.
And I'm Missy Golke. I live in Mountain View. Or Muldoon.
Gerald Hess, I live in Fairview, and I obviously do not go to any high school.
Hi, my name is Shannon Kuhn, and I live in Spinard.
May Deputy Ombudsman. I'm in Mountain View.
Heather McAlpine, Office of Equal Opportunity Director, and I will have someone in Vegas next year. No,
Awesome.
Bartlett next year. Vegas this year, Bartlett next year.
You can call Angela Live next to Doug, and I'm a subcommittee coming to watch Doug.
What school do you go to?
Huh.
Oh,
I'm Jennifer Benacausen. I'm the Deputy Municipal Clerk. I live in South Anchorage and my kids will eventually go to Diamond High School. Welcome.
Desiree Camacho, Assembly Budget Analyst. I live in Midtown.
Alex Lipka, Chief Fiscal Officer, I live up on the hillside.
All right, so now I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Mara Kimmel, who is leading the Welcoming Anchorage group that's here with us today.
Hi, well, thank you all. I'm actually co-leading this with Missy Golke. Missy works at the Anchorage Museum, and together with Shannon Kuhn, we are hosting our second Civic Engagement Academy, Youth Civic Engagement Academy. And this idea arose out of the Welcoming Anchorage strategic roadmap that the Anchorage Assembly adopted in 2018, that Darrell Hess was instrumental in pulling together. And in the strategic roadmap, we identified ways of making sure that we are engaging all of Anchorage's residents in our city and educating us all about who we are and how we can get involved. And so one of the recommendations was to create a Civic Engagement Academy. We've been working with the Anchorage School District to focus that on students. And last summer we held one at the very end of the summer, and so this is our second one. And we have 3 goals in the academy. The first is to teach students about what it takes to run a city. So we've been taking the students to different places like the port and the airport, the FBI, the police department, fire department, hospital. We went to Channel 2 yesterday and got to do the weather with Jackie. So we've had, and this morning we've also met with the mayor, and this morning we met with people about the census, and then Lance Wilbur at OMB to learn about how he gets to give everybody their allowance. And so we've really been trying to peel back the curtain in terms of what it takes to run this place. And then our second goal is to build a sense of community. And this is our second cohort that we've run, and what I'm finding, having had the honor to work with these young folks, is that it's great to see the light bulbs go off in people's eyes about what it takes to be a member of our city, and to hear from all of them how they want to continue their engagement and how they want to continue to build a place where we are all seen and heard, and our voices and our values matter. And they matter especially to you as leaders and elected officials. And then the third goal that we have is to expose the students to different potential career opportunities. And I have to say that of all the groups that we've been able to meet this week, I think that the resounding career path right now might be headed for the FBI.
Great job.
But we got to I mean, that was a very cool visit. But we've got people who are interested in now joining the court system, because we also got to visit with them. They were introduced to the Explorer Academy at the fire department. And so we're really hoping that these guys can think long and hard about the different career options that are out in front of them and their family. And we are really hopeful that we are helping to raise your replacements one day. So thank you for having us and for hosting us. We are very, very appreciative, and I think that it just really goes to show how important being a welcoming community is, and the work of the Welcoming Anchorage Initiative. So on behalf of the godfather of the Welcoming Anchorage Initiative, and Shannon, who has worked tirelessly at the city, we are very, very grateful.
Great. Also note that Ms. Kennedy is on the telephone, and the mayor and his chief of staff did also appear in the room, for the record. And so I think it's a duty in public service when you get elected, or even when you're working in your local community councils. Have you visited a community council? That might be something you put on your list. Mountain View runs an interesting meeting. Is that you should start growing your replacement as soon as you get elected. Because we are stewards of these positions. We don't own these positions. It's our job to make sure that going forward there is someone to come behind us and keep it up and build it better. And we build on the successes and also the errors of the people who came before us, and we try to make it good. And in my experience, at least with this body that I work with, and I'm sorry we're not all here, but as you know, there's something kind of wild happening in our community right now in our country. We're very collegial, and we work hard together to make this city a better place. So, Ms. LaFrance had her hand in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for being here. It sounds like a really exciting program. And one of the things that I've come to understand while being in this role, and this is my third year on the body, my term ends in April, is that a lot of folks don't have a lot of knowledge about local government and how it works. I know I didn't, because the emphasis when I was a student was on the federal and state government, which kind of makes sense because you don't really know which community you'll end up living in. But sometimes when we go door to door, there's confusion about, okay, we have a city council, or people ask, are you, in the legislature at the state level? So that definitely seems to be, one area that is a real opportunity for education, and probably a lot more than, I know you know a lot more than most adults about how the city works. Do you have suggestions for how to involve more young people, or even how to educate other people about how the city works and the importance of local government? If you have ideas, I would love to hear them.
Please, say your name as well for the records before you speak. Just say, my name is
Secra. I would like to get more young kids involved. It would be like for you guys to go out to schools, maybe like with one of those late night conferences, like talk to them, and be like, it's really let them know that they are a part of the community, and that you guys want to hear their opinions. You guys want to know like what they think, and their opinions is like what makes the community stronger. In a sense.
please.
Thanks for that suggestion. I really like that idea. I hold coffees sometimes on Saturday, and it never occurred to me to maybe reach out to the school and the student body population to see if it might be possible to go to the school and just have, and be there. So thanks, I really love that suggestion.
Other thoughts?
Isaac, you look like.
Yeah, I see an idea. The light bulb is turning on.
I think we can do some like activities in like communities. Just gather up like some kids and just talk to them about like how they're meaningful to like and how they can change their community, not just their community, just the world. Just some kids just don't have that like opportunity to like hear people just saying they're meaningful, they can do stuff that other people can do. So I think that would be very good.
Excellent. That was Isaac?
Thanks.
Yeah,
All right. Others? So on that topic, one of my favorite projects this year, a group of students from Eagle River High School approached me and asked me to help them with a project. And the project was to try to rename the street in front of their school after their school mascot. And my challenge to them was to learn how it works, go back and read the code and understand the steps. And then once they understood the steps, my challenge back to them was, now do it. And they set about a project to do exactly what you just suggested, and that is to actually do something. And they are really close to being done with that project, and we'll know in just about 15 days if every hurdle is out of the way and those students actually change the city. So the power is actually in your hands to do stuff. You definitely have the ability. Ms. Kimmel.
One of the students went through this academy last summer and ended up with an internship at the mayor's office, Elas. And she's been working with Shannon on the welcoming work. And I'm wondering does the assembly ever have similar opportunities for high school students or the clerk's office or any other parts of the city that you can think of?
Well, of course, we have the big one.
The seat.
Yes.
Yes.
So, the Anchorage Assembly adopted by ordinance the opportunity for a youth representative to sit with us and do the hard work of reading all of those pages and making their opinion, and especially the opinion of their peers, the youth, known about all the matters that come across our desk, which are many. You know, we work with issues like the port and funding and the budget and police and fire, and as you know right now, healthcare, whether it's regular healthcare or emergency healthcare, and all of these things. And so we have that seat, which is available, I think 16, is that the age?
16 to 18.
16 to 19.
19, that's right.
And so that application is actually open now, or it should be very soon, because they're recruiting, and we will be appointing the next member for the year, and that would start when school begins in September. We give them the summer to kind of get figured out, get it all set up. We also have a youth commission. Have you met with the youth commission? No, so I would suggest that this group also takes the opportunity to...
This is it, we're done.
Oh, this is the last? Okay. Well, in the future, I would offer that it might be wise to have a meeting with the youth commission, but getting a position on the youth commission is an opportunity for you now. I believe that you would submit the application to the mayor's office for an appointment to that position. Are there other opportunities that you can think of? So one opportunity I know, depending on what neighborhood you live in, we, the assembly, through our code, allow community councils to have youth members 16 to 18. Not all councils have adopted that. It was made optional. I know that Fairview has made it not just that you can be there, but you are a voting member and can have a say in the business of your community council. And so I believe Mountain View's community council does allow youth members to participate. So if you're 16, you can go there, and the community councils are set up in such a way that they provide us advice. And so when we have issues that are contentious or important to a neighborhood, those community councils weigh in. They come together, have a conversation. Either they vote by motion, which is like, I move that this be adopted, and somebody seconds it and we have a conversation, or they have resolutions which are more thoughtful written documents that set up policies, the reasons why, and the request. And so at your community council, you can actually be involved with that process that feeds right to us as policymakers. And so I don't know East Anchorage or the university area community councils, what their positions are on youth members. But I know Mountain View and Fairview have said yes.
Well,
Mr. Peterson.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you know, the Northeast Community Council, which is the largest one in East Anchorage, does allow youth members. I think we actually had a 17-year-old on our leadership group for a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And so there's that's a possibility. And it, looking at it from the young person perspective, people from my generation probably view things significantly different than the way you see them. And so it's great to get input from young people because you may understand things totally different than the way we see them. And when you present that information, maybe the light goes on for us.
Right.
So, just because we're, already elected leaders doesn't mean we know or understand everything from your point of view. And that's why I thought it was so important for us to add a youth member to the assembly.
Agreed. And I might add, Dr. Kimmel, that one area that I found some resistance to, I had thought that it would be great for most of our boards and commissions, except maybe the ones that are quasi-judicial, should allow a youth member. Every one of them, our Arts Commission, our Parks and Rec Commission, any number of these commissions, why in the world wouldn't we allow one member to sit on that body that is not 18, but is in fact a youth person that can add that view? Because then we would distribute that across all of the purviews of our work, Public Safety Commission, et cetera, et cetera.
And I don't know if this is
No.
Be a citizen, you don't have to be 18 to serve on advisory commissions, right?
I believe that there is a restriction, and I'm not sure about that, Darrell, but I was told that there is not the will to do that.
I think it's for boards and commissions under 4.40, which is adjudicatory and regulatory, I believe you have to be 18.
And those
but
shouldn't.
For advisory, I don't think there is an age limit.
So
We should investigate that, please, Ms. Kimmel. That's okay.
What we will do is, we're pulling together a list of resources for the students for this cohort and last one, and we'll add a link to the boards and commissions, and if there's things that you're interested in, we'll help you figure out if you need to be 18 or 21 or whatever the age is, but we're happy to help serve as resources, Missy, Shannon, and me.
I don't think there's one that's 21. They're all 18.
18.
Yeah, and so that's not a bar. But I certainly have not yet seen a commission that said it was available to people under 18. And I would like us to allow at least a seat that would be designated to youth. And that could be good for the youth commission itself. Each of them could take on a subject area and follow that. Anyhow, I've been thinking about this a little bit. And anybody have any other thoughts or ideas you want to share? The floor is open. Okay, then I'll reframe that question. Why don't you each, if you don't mind, give us your highlights of this program. Just take a minute or two to tell us what was the best part and maybe what could be better.
First.
Please.
I think the best
Speak
part,
loud, like
the
you're-
best part of
Yep.
this service, I think it's just meeting people like who are interested in changing their community. It's just amazing to see just kids this young to like take their time and just think about like what they can do to change their community. And I think that's the best part.
Great. Speak loud. So everyone tell us, what is your favorite part? And say your name again.
Class.
Yep.
I think the best part is like getting to know the people who live in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that they just live by those people, like you don't even actually text them or call them, really get to know them. So when you live by the
Thank you. Try to speak really loud. That microphone isn't so great.
I think the best part of the program was like finding out how new things, getting to know if you have opportunities to do with stuff. Hi, my name is Ikra, and I think the best part was like going to places that you would normally wouldn't be able to go to, like the FBI, and getting to know like those people and seeing like they're not as scary as they seem from the outside. They're normal people. They have family, they have kids, their mothers and fathers. And I think we need to have more things to live in because like just know that people who run your shit is not as scary as they seem. They're just normal. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is my name.
Please, just real loud because we're recording it for the future so people know who's talking.
My name's Sophia, and the civic engagement, I think, is like a way to be engaged in the community. And at first, when we were all like meeting each other, we weren't that engaged. And when we went deeper into this like program, we became more communicated and engaged in each other. And I think that's what it takes to build a community, is to like help each other out and to like explore. And especially we have like young minds. We need to like build that more and like have a growth mindset with what we are doing.
Great.
My name is Safa, and I think the best thing that I learned is how much their backgrounds compared to how they look and
You can do just fine.
learning so much about their backgrounds give you like understanding of how they work.
So understanding their backgrounds helps you understand how they work. Okay. Other questions? Mr. France?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when I was in high school, our civics teacher gave us extra credit when we turned 18 and registered to vote. So what kinds of encouragement do you all see in your schools to get young people who turn 18, their senior year mostly, right, to register to vote? Or is that, to what degree do you talk about it, and is it encouraged?
I have a teacher named Miss Walton at Alice Middle College, and she's the best person you would really want to do teacher. She talks to us about a lot often. She said that we as kids, we talk about it online and so over, but when it comes down to it, we don't really go out the day we really need to. And at my school, we talk about it a lot. We talk about it quite often. She's like, show up, like, your voice matters and how this country turns out.
So there's a question that Ms. Kimmel made a suggestion maybe that some of you aren't citizens. Is that true?
Yeah.
It doesn't, I'm not
No.
asking.
Chris, sorry.
My question is, what ways can we help?
There you go.
I want to understand, because that question might not be one that's apt specifically.
And
So
it
how
cannot
can we
be
help?
asked specifically.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So without going into any personal specific detail, what ways can we help to make sure that your voices are heard if that one day isn't an option for you? That's, to me, the question that's super valuable in this process, because we're here to represent you. Every one of us on this body won't talk about our citizens we represent. We talk about the residents and constituents and our neighbors, because that's what's important, right? Not, what paper is on the table, but instead, so how in the world can we help make it so you have more meaningful opportunities? That's the question that I have. Please, Isaac, speak up.
Yeah, I'm Isaac. Some kids are scared to talk.
Right.
They have like many ideas to share and talk about, but since they don't have someone to just encourage them to like talk and just express their feelings, they just get depressed. And I think it would be a good idea to like go in schools and just give them that voice that can bring them up and help them to grow. Like as a
So
person.
what are ways you hear from people? How do you hear? Like, what are the tools? Where are the places?
I think, yeah, schools, communities, libraries, like those are like good places you can find students and encourage them to work hard for what they're doing and what they want to do in the future.
All things I totally support. I'm sure my peers do. Mr. Peterson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I come from an immigrant family. My grandfather Peterson came to this country in 1910, and back in those days, you had to get a sponsor if you were an immigrant to come to this country. And so my great grandmother that I never met, who was from Germany, wrote letters to her relatives in the United States and asked them if they would be sponsors for her. She had 2 sons, and she found a third cousin or something that agreed, and so they came to America and had to work as an indentured servant for 3 years before they got their permanent residency card. And then you had to be a resident in those years for 7 years before you could apply to become a naturalized citizen. And because World War II or World War I was fought against Germany, and the United States entered that war in 1917, my grandfather was worried that by the fact that he was a German immigrant, that they might send him back. And so as soon as he reached that plateau of having been here 7 years, he applied to get his naturalization card and became a naturalized citizen. And the rest is history, as they say. That was actually just a little over a century ago that he became a citizen.
So I'm going to come back to my question of how to communicate. In this country, in our history, way back when, there is a long tradition of writing your thoughts. If you were afraid to say what needed to be said, you found a way to write it in such a way that no one knew you were writing it, but the words still got out there so that people heard your ideas. And in fact, when I was a kid, when I was your age, there was this very popular tradition among the punk rock kids that I knew called zines, which were little self-published, printed at Kinko's documents that were some handwritten, some typed, some cut little bits of paper together to get the messages out, that they printed and handed out to everyone. And now, of course, we have this amazing tool, the internet, which allows us to have these kinds of communications. I wonder if you have ways and thoughts that you need to communicate that are difficult and challenging and scary, because these are scary times, right? That you can find a way to communicate, that the words get out, that you can share, that we can have conversations about what's important without creating threats. That's one thing. You know, that's a tradition of this country, to speak loudly even if you don't put your name. They used to sign Publius at the bottom of these documents, which was the public. Right? Old Latin, Old Roman maybe. Anyhow, so there are ways. Ms. Kimmel.
I wanted to, if it's okay, answer your question about what we learned or what
Please,
I think the best part
your
of this.
part, yep.
I would, first of all, offer my appreciation to the students who took their week break. Now they get another week, but we didn't know that at the time.
Bonus.
But who took their vacation time to come in and learn about our city. And what kind of dedication does that speak about all of you? It's pretty impressive. And to your earlier point, I think these people who are here now become spokespeople and leaders in their own communities and schools and neighborhoods to take the information they've learned from us, from you, back to their peers, and vice versa. They now know who you are. So if they see you in the supermarket or at Fred Meyer, where some of you are now going to be working, they may stop you, which is fantastic. And so it's touching one person at a time, which makes that difference. I also am, going through this now a second time, it has made me incredibly proud to be a resident of this city, because every time, without fail, we have asked other agencies or organizations to donate their time to talk to these students. They have not only said yes, but heck yes. And there's always more ideas for, okay, next time we're going to talk to the youth academy or youth
Commission.
Thank you. So there's always more ideas and there's always more to do. And so it just makes me proud that everybody in our community wants to step up and wants to share their love and their passion and their path that they've taken so that they can inspire other people too. And I think in a day where we're being told to elbow each other and get a little bit more removed from each other, it's super important to remember that even with that physical separation, we are still here as one, and we, even if we can't touch each other, even if we can't come in the same rooms together, we have each other, and we're all willing to step up for each other. You guys donated your time. You gave of your time and of your talent. And that's one other thing I also want to just mention, that over the summer, if you have a chance to go to Mountain View to the Grow North Farm, you will see a brand new, wonderfully painted dumpster, and you now know the artists.
Awesome.
So that was a big art project that we did this week as well. And Solid Waste Services donated the dumpster, the museum donated the paint. We had our public art curator donate his talent to work with the students. This academy, I think, is an embodiment of, it does take a community to build a community, and each and every one of you matter. And again, we're counting on you.
Absolutely true. Mr. Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I neglected to finish the rest of that story, as a radio host used to say. My grandfather, when he was in his early 50s, became mayor of a little town of about 700 people in eastern Iowa. And so he started out as an immigrant and became a community leader. So you can do it too.
Ms. LaFrance?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I wanted to echo what Dr. Kimball said about thank you so much for taking your time to do this. And it's exciting to me to think of how you all have this knowledge and are, ambassadors and connections in your communities. And I would love to hear from you via email or however. And one of you mentioned it's regular people who run the city, and I think that's a really helpful point to keep in mind too, because I know when I first got in this role, I didn't realize that, and I think actually everybody should feel confident in stepping forward, whether it's running for office or leading an organization in your school or whatever community, because through that, you really have so much to offer. And thank you for taking the time to spend your week learning and also for being here. It's definitely a highlight to get the feedback and hear from all of you.
Right, so we're just about out of time, and the closing note I'll leave you with is some wisdom shared with me many years ago by a professional I used to work with. His wisdom was this: the world is run by those who show up. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you.